Brian Entin walked inside. Not Nancy Guthrie's home. Not the crime scene you already know about. A different property. A connected property. One that investigators believed held the answer to the most important question in this entire case. And what he found inside, what a coordinated, simultaneous search across 3 separate locations revealed on the same day, is the kind of evidence that doesn't just advance an investigation. It locks onto one person. But before we get there, you need to understand one thing, one detail. The detail that changes how every single piece of evidence in this case lands. The inside of Nancy Guthrie's home was immaculate. That word came directly from a source described by News Nation as very close to this investigation. Immaculate. No overturned furniture. No broken glass. No signs of a fight. No chaos. Just an 84-year-old woman's home, perfectly undisturbed, at 2 in the morning. And then you step outside. Nancy Guthrie's confirmed blood. On the front porch. Blood spatter on the step. Blood dripped across the driveway. Retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent Jim Clemente, one of the original Mindhunters, looked at that pattern and told Fox News exactly what it meant. She was struck at the exact moment she crossed that threshold. She resisted. She fought. One person took her, one abductor. The blood pattern confirmed it. So here is the question this entire video is going to answer. If there was no struggle inside that immaculate home, who was she comfortable enough to walk to that front door with? Subscribe right now and turn on every notification. When this case breaks, and based on what I'm about to show you, it is closer than you've been told. You need to be here the moment it happens. The blood told investigators where the violence ended. The DNA inside that house told them where it really began. But to understand what that DNA means, and why what Brian Entin found at the suspect's property is so significant, you first need to understand exactly what was wrong inside Nancy Guthrie's home, because the house was hiding something. And investigators found it. The back doors of Nancy Guthrie's home were found propped open the morning she was discovered missing. Savannah Guthrie confirmed this herself on live national television. Not forced open, not kicked in, not broken, propped, deliberately, held open by something placed in the frame. Think about that for 1 second. You cannot prop a door open from the outside. You have to be standing inside that house to place something in that frame, which means before Nancy Guthrie was walked out her front door at approximately 2 in the morning, someone had already opened the back exit from the inside. Either Nancy opened those doors herself, or someone with her did. At exactly 1:47 a.m. on February 1st, Nancy's Nest doorbell camera went offline. Not a power outage, not a gradual fade. A targeted, precise disconnect at a specific moment. The remaining footage captured a masked figure approaching the front door, reaching deliberately toward the camera, using the yard vegetation to block the remaining angle. That figure knew where the camera was. They knew how to kill it. Then Sheriff Chris Nanos confirmed it publicly to NBC News. A mixed biological profile was recovered from inside Nancy Guthrie's home. Unknown DNA. One confirmed unknown male contributor. A profile that matches no person with any documented reason to be inside that house. Seymour, chief genetic genealogist at Parabon Nanolabs, explained exactly why the word mixed matters. A mixed sample contains genetic material from multiple individuals, and separating those contributions is one of the most technically complex challenges in forensic DNA work. Here is what the FBI's own profilers concluded from that DNA's location inside the home. The suspect had been inside Nancy Guthrie's house before February 1st, not on the night she disappeared. Before, someone had walked those rooms, studied that layout, knew exactly where the camera was, and exactly what it would take to kill it. And that prior access, that inside knowledge, is exactly what made the coordinated 3-location search so significant. Because investigators weren't guessing, they already knew where to look. Law enforcement does not coordinate simultaneous searches across 3 separate locations unless they are certain of one thing. The people inside those locations are connected, and if given any warning, they will communicate. Brian Entin was there. He documented it. He physically walked inside the primary suspect property, and what the search revealed lines up with 5 critical pieces of evidence that this investigation has been building toward for months. Here is exactly what converged on the day of that search. 1. The coordinated execution itself. 3 locations, same moment, no warning. That decision signals investigative certainty, not suspicion, certainty. 2. The items found inside the suspect property, described by people familiar with the investigation as disturbing, consistent with the physical profile of this abduction, not circumstantially, directly. 3. The prior access evidence. Unknown DNA inside Nancy's home from before February 1st. An unknown male who had no documented reason to be there. A person who knew that house. 4. The propped back doors, staged from the inside. An exit route prepared before Nancy ever reached the front porch. Preparation that requires knowledge, not guesswork. 5. The masked figure on the doorbell footage, moving with deliberate precision. Knowing exactly where the camera was. Knowing exactly how to disable it. Arriving with a plan already in motion. Former FBI profilers Jim Clement, James Fitzgerald, Raymond Carr, and Dr. Ann Burgess were all briefed on the direction of this investigation. Every single one of them reached the same conclusion. This is consistent with what the forensic and behavioral evidence has been pointing toward for months. One person, singular, acting with planning, with preparation, with inside access. One person, planned, prepared, and already identified in the evidence. Drop your answer in the comments right now. Based on everything you've just heard, what do you think investigators found inside that suspect's property? 4 profilers. 1 conclusion, and Brian Enton had already seen exactly what they were describing with his own eyes. So what did he find? And why? When you add it to the DNA now sitting at Quantico, does it point so completely, so undeniably at one person? The items found inside the suspect property match the physical profile of this crime. The 25-liter Ozark Trail backpack carried to Nancy Guthrie's front door that night, sold exclusively at Walmart, is consistent with items documented at the suspect location. The mask, the gloves, the clothing, all of it consistent with Walmart purchases, all of it consistent with deliberate advanced preparation. 2 miles from Nancy's home, investigators recovered a glove. That glove contained DNA from an unknown male. A profile consistent with the glove visible on the masked figure in the original doorbell footage. Then there is the Bitcoin account. Investigators discovered a message tied to a Bitcoin account that showed activity around the time of the abduction. The blockchain records every transaction, if someone was paid, if money changed hands in connection with what happened to Nancy Guthrie. That digital record still exists. And the FBI's forensic cryptocurrency team has broken far more complex financial trails than this one. And then the camera. At 1:47 a.m., a targeted disconnect. Not random. Precision timed to the moment of approach. If a signal jammer was used, a technical device that disrupts Wi-Fi in a targeted area, then this suspect arrived at that property with a toolkit, not improvising, not reacting, executing. If you have watched this far and you are not subscribed, do it now. The next update on this case could be the one that changes everything. Cease Moore's final word on the DNA currently at Quantico stopped everyone who heard it. If I was the kidnapper, I would be extremely worried right now. Do you believe the DNA at Quantico is going to be what finally closes this case? Tell me in the comments. The walls are closing, and somewhere in Tucson, one person already knows it. But here is the one thing this investigation has not yet delivered, and why that single absence matters more than anything else we have covered tonight. Strip away the forensics. Strip away the sourcing. Strip away every investigative thread we have walked through tonight. One fact remains. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, has not been found. No ransom demand came from the real perpetrator. No contact. No proof of life. No explanation. The person who took her has said nothing publicly, has demanded nothing, has made no move that investigators can see. And Savannah Guthrie, who confirmed the prop doors on live television, who has watched this investigation unfold in public while living it in private, is still waiting. The evidence knows who did this. The DNA at Quantico is moving toward an answer. The coordinated search produced results. The profilers agree on the profile. The investigators know the direction, but Nancy is still out there. And that is the fact that none of the forensics, none of the sourcing, none of the investigative momentum has answered yet. What do you believe happened to Nancy Guthrie after she was taken? I want to read every theory in the comments. You have been with this case tonight through every detail. You deserve to be here when it breaks. Subscribe. Turn on every notification. Because when Nancy Guthrie is found, and this evidence says that moment is coming, you will hear it here first.